Ubisoft should really hire a new PR team because as of right now, they just keep digging a deeper hole for themselves.
Today I'm going to express my contempt with Ubisoft titles and explain why I will no longer.
Ubisoft must be stopped. Over the years, Ubisoft earned a bad reputation in the gaming community, and it doesn't seem like it's stopping anytime soon. A quick search and you'll see a lot of comments from people saying, "Don't buy any game from Ubisoft. I am never buying another Ubisoft game again. Ubisoft games are all the same." The jokes and memes about Ubisoft at this point are now comparable to EA being the butt of the joke in the gaming community. And well, I can't blame them. Other companies may have done pretty bad anti-consumer practices, but Ubisoft is always a step ahead of them. Personally, I think some of the bad press they're getting is a little bit too much, but I can't deny the state of what Ubisoft has turned into. As a fan of Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Siege, growing up playing Rayman Legends, there'll always be a soft spot for these Ubisoft games in my heart. Playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag is one of the best games I've ever experienced. Pirates, a massive open world, and non-arguably one of the coolest protagonists ever in a game. A pirate fighting with dual swords? I was instantly sold. However, one thing that stopped me from fully enjoying the game was all the bugs and glitches that I constantly faced. Unresolved bugs, glitches, broken launchers. These issues are common to almost every game regardless of what company made it. But Ubisoft is just on another level, and they must be stopped. Ubisoft is destroying the entire gaming industry from inside out. Imagine that. Back then, they gave us top-tier games we all loved. It's just a shame that they've turned all their best IPs into online services. Almost every game they release is filled with microtransactions, and I wouldn't even want to start with Ubisoft venturing their games into the whole NFT nonsense. Not to mention horrible launch day bugs or broken games. How can we all forget that disaster Assassin's Creed Unity brought? The game was so broken, and Ubisoft still had the nerve to offer players to pre-purchase a $30 season patch. As an apology, they gave away one free game of the player's choosing, but with a catch. You can't sue them if you accepted the offer. Here's the exact quote: "By accepting the free game, you're releasing Ubisoft from liability related to the problems with Assassin's Creed Unity and the devaluation of the season pass as a result of the Dead King's DLC going free." Ubisoft just keeps on making mistakes one after another. I might be coming off too strong on this one, but they should be stopped. Owning what you've purchased is just your basic right as a consumer. When you buy a TV, you own it and do whatever you want with it until it breaks down or until you can't use it anymore. You're not expected to return it because it's simply yours. Your money, your rules. Nowadays, almost every service runs through a subscription service. Of course, the main benefit of a subscription model is aimed at value and, most importantly, convenience. Let's take a look at Xbox Game Pass. For a fraction of the cost of a full game, you can play hundreds of titles at any moment. So this is good, right? Small price to pay with insanely large value. However, what I'm really worried about here is that almost every company is taking a shot at their subscription-based service. I'm worried that the future of subscription-based gaming will turn out like what's happening now with Netflix. Before, we only went to Netflix to watch our shows. Now we have to subscribe to HBO, Hulu, Amazon Prime, or Disney Plus just to watch one or two shows. Right now, we have Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Plus for gaming, which I think is fine considering that we have access to hundreds of games from different publishers and that there are two different consoles. Recently, Ubisoft introduced a rebrand of its subscription service, Ubisoft Plus for PC players. Of course, it's Ubisoft, so I'm not even surprised. In addition, Ubisoft's execs also said during its launch that gamers should feel comfortable not owning their games. This is the exact quote. One of the things we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVD, having and owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, so it's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. Obviously, he has a point there, but imagine if Square Enix, Sega, or Capcom launched their own subscription-based services. That would put a huge dent in all of us gamers. Ubisoft Plus costs $17.99, Xbox Game Pass costs $9.99, while PlayStation Plus is also $17.99. If I have to pay for more than that, while not being able to own my own games, is this the future of gaming that I really want to have? And for you guys, even if you have all the money to spend on subscription platforms, do you really want the future of gaming to be that way? Will you really be comfortable with not owning the games you paid for? I still believe that a huge percentage of us gamers still prefer owning our games, and this is one of the major reasons I buy the physical version of any game I want to play. Entertaining the idea of gamers being comfortable to eventually lose access to the games they bought after a set amount of time is already terrifying. And this is also one of the top reasons many gamers resort to piracy, but we'll talk about this in another video. Going back, it doesn't help that Ubisoft can guarantee that you will have access to all their game catalog in the next 5 or 10, maybe 20 years. Ubisoft has a record of shutting down their games that are dead and no longer profitable. Ubisoft has shut down online servers for games like Assassin's Creed 2, Anno 2070, Far Cry 3, Splinter Cell, and more. Yes, you can still play the game offline, but the shutdown is not limited to its online coup and multiplayer modes. It also includes the DLCs and some expansion packs you paid for. You're right, DLCs that have absolutely no relevance to multiplayer at all. Take note, this was even before subscription-based games were a thing. You see, some of these games aren't even that old. Ubisoft just can't seem to do anything right. I mean, if all the games they've released recently are just at the top in terms of quality, then I might even give them a free pass, but seriously, it's not. A few weeks ago, we all witnessed Skull and Bones' release was met with bad reviews, and I don't want to beat the dead horse and pile up on the game. Just go to Metacritic and see that abysmal 3.5 out of 10 user rating. I felt second-hand embarrassment knowing that they were marketing this as a quadruple A game with a $70 price tag. Disappointing indeed, and this isn't just Skull and Bones. Personally, Far Cry 6 was just an upgraded reskin of the previous Far Cry games with a different map and story. Star Wars Jedi Survivor launched with a lot of technical issues that it was almost unplayable for PC players. Now, let's give Ubisoft a little credit here. Jedi Survivor was a great game. If it had a smooth launch without bugs, it would have been a Game of the Year contender for sure. Okay, now that we're doing this, let's give them more credit. The new Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, was a game I genuinely enjoyed. Rainbow Six Siege, despite being a 7-year-old game, is still up and running. It's an incredibly unique game that sets it apart from most Ubisoft titles. I'm telling you all this not just because I want to trash Ubisoft. I believe that Ubisoft still has what it takes to bring back unique and amazing games we will enjoy. As gamers, we all understand that our beloved game devs need to make more money, and we certainly would not think twice about giving our money to them to show support and give them the motivation to develop and bring us new gaming experiences. But what happened with Ubisoft? It's like every single thing they're trying to do now is to come up with new ways to make more money from their customers, and it's a very bad thing. And Ubisoft's not the only one guilty of that. We're seeing some companies following a similar path, and by the looks of it, they'll also arrive at the same results. Square Enix didn't catch a break with Babylon's Fall, Marvel's Avengers, and Forspoken. Babylon's Fall shutting down service after a few months, then Marvel's Avengers shutting down in just 2 years, so Ubisoft must be stopped. Square Enix must be stopped. But if they continue going down this path, I'm afraid that the worst thing might happen to them, dragging along some of the best IPs the gaming industry has ever gotten.